He's just great. He's just great. He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT. And that's that. He is the GOAT and he's gonna win and I'm gonna be so happy and everyone's gonna be so happy and just 2026, the year of the fire horse. That's why the Ferrari Cup. New year, new season, new era, new cars, new drivers, new regulations, even new teams. How exciting is that? It's really, really exciting. And I'm here to share my excitement. And fears, but mostly excitement. Yeah. Okay, let's start off with Ferrari, now that I have the cap on. What do I expect from Ferrari from this year to next year, to this upcoming season? Let's be honest, I don't expect them to win the championship or anything like that. I don't expect them to be the worst team either. I expect them to be somewhat competitive. Maybe not fighting for the title, but fighting for third or, well, maybe not second, but somewhere up there, not the midfield, hopefully. I'm trying not to jinx it, okay? And I'm not even like a very hardcore Ferrari fan, despite what my cap might say. But yeah, I don't know. I don't expect them to be bad. I don't expect them to be great either. Kind of what has been happening this year, but with a major difference. Because what I think is gonna change in Ferrari is not the team and the position in which the team is right now, but the performances from one of their drivers. The driver in question being Lewis Hamilton. I think we're gonna see a change in performance from him. I really do. And I know many people are gonna laugh at this and are gonna not take me seriously, but I truly believe what I'm about to say, so hear me out. I think Lewis has definitely had a complicated year at Ferrari. There's no denying that. But I also think it could have been worse. Well, sorry. Okay. I'm gonna phrase it differently. I think, well, Lewis has had a shit year. This 2025 season, I think he's gonna improve significantly for this season because Lewis has been struggling. That's for sure. We have seen it at practically every Grand Prix except for like the China Sprint or something. But this year is gonna be better. What's my reasoning? Well, I do have a reasoning. Basically, my reasoning to believe that Lewis is gonna do better this year than he did in 2025 is that, look, he changed teams from Mercedes to Ferrari, right? And that's not an easy change because I think there's one thing that we have to understand, and it's that the team in itself, how it functions. Ferrari and Mercedes, they are completely different, like polar opposites in terms of how the team functions, the team structure, even the culture surrounding the team are very, very, very different. Okay, and I think Lewis being for so long in Mercedes and being so comfortable too in Mercedes, being so used to the same things for so many years, and those things working for him because we had the Mercedes dominance and he got used to it and he knew the ins and outs of Mercedes like no one else. And you have this situation, right, with Lewis being for so many years at Mercedes, being so comfortable, winning so many titles, and then you take him to Ferrari, which has nothing in common with Mercedes practically, other than they're a Formula One team. I don't know if I'm getting my point across, but what I mean is that it was never gonna be an easy adjustment for Lewis. It was obviously gonna be hard, and I think what especially hurt Lewis and this Ferrari dream is that there was so much hype around it. People were so excited. I remember seeing people saying that Lewis was gonna win the championship his first year at Ferrari, and I was skeptical. I didn't expect him to win. He didn't, obviously. But yeah, I remember people being really excited and hyped up about this, and then the season came. So why would you be so hyped up if you didn't have any hints or anything that would indicate that Lewis was gonna win with Ferrari? Because it's his first year. Lewis is great. I'm not saying he's not. He's a 7-time world champion. Obviously, he's great, one of the greatest of all times and everything. But I think it was always unrealistic. Even if he had a great season, he was never going to win his first year at Ferrari with so many changes and everything going on. And then, of course, when the season started, people were pretty disappointed. Wonder why, but one can dream. Dreaming is free. It doesn't cost a cent. Therapy, however, is pretty expensive. So my condolences to you, Ferrari fans. But I think this whole situation with Lewis and Ferrari is going to improve this year. It's not like it's hard because, the situation at the moment isn't good at all. But I think it's going to improve. Lewis is going to adjust to the team. He's going to feel more confident, more comfortable. And I think the major difference for that is not that he's going to have the best car or a dominant car. Maybe a competitive car would be enough. But I think the major difference is that he's going to be on a more similar level to Charles. I think that's what's gonna motivate him this year. But there is something about Ferrari that actually worries me, and it's the development of the car for this year. And I've seen somewhere that they're gonna focus more on developing the car for next year than this year, which I think is pretty silly because the year just started and you said that before it even started. So what are you playing at? Ferrari. But yeah, whatever that means. But that's not a problem, although it might as well be. But my issue, what I'm worried about is that the development of the car, right? Usually teams, when they are developing a car, they ask questions, for feedback to the drivers that are the ones who are driving the car. Great. But each team has 2 drivers, unless you're Red Bull, but yeah, each team has 2 drivers. And both drivers are supposed to give feedback, maybe even ask for features in the car that maybe are useful to them, little adjustments and whatnot. And Ferrari has decided to focus more on Charles's feedback. According to Lewis himself, Lewis's feedback is, they're not having it in mind as much as Charles's, right? And that might be a problem, because they have 2 drivers. And I understand that Charles he has been with Ferrari forever. He wants to win a championship. He wants to at least win races. But so does Lewis. And that's the issue, that Ferrari, thank God they're nowhere near being able to win the championship, the driver championship. Maybe I will eat my words this season. Maybe they will win. But Ferrari, as it stands now, they're not going to be able to win the drivers championship. I don't think the constructors either. But yeah, that's the situation right now. And thank God, because Ferrari has made some questionable decisions. But this questionable decision is promising 2 different drivers a championship. And if we have learned anything from this year with McLaren, 2 drivers cannot win at the same time, the same year. Well, at least not on paper, right? They have promised Lewis a championship with Ferrari, to crown himself wearing red, which is probably the dream of any Formula 1 driver. But there's also Charles. He has also been promised a title, a championship with Ferrari. He's il predestinato. It's not like they're gonna ignore him and prioritize Lewis. I doubt it very much. But they can't both win, and maybe next year, maybe in 2027, they will be competing against each other. And the thing with Oscar and Lando, they're friends, they get along great. They have been very cordial with each other this year, even though they were competing wheel to wheel from time to time, whenever they were allowed to. not as frequently as I wanted to see, but that's because I want chaos. But yeah, but Charles and Lewis, they're not. It's not that they're not friends, but they are more. They're out for blood. They want the title like desperately. Charles has wanted to be champion for a couple of years now. While I feel like Lando and Oscar, I mean, Lando didn't expect to be able to win a title so soon, especially not after spending so many years being best of the rest, king of the midfield in that horror of a car. But Charles has been competitive for more than Lando has, because Ferrari has been competitive for longer than McLaren has, believe it or not. He's gonna go for it. He's not gonna let Lewis by, no matter what they tell him or what they threaten him with. And Lewis wants that 8th title like nothing else. I assure you, he's not gonna back down. He's gonna go for it. If he can, he will win. Okay, I mean, it's obvious they both desperately want to win, and they're both desperately going to try to win. Okay, it's not a secret, but we will worry about that when the time comes, because as it stands right now, we have nothing to worry about. Ferrari is not winning the Drivers' Championship this year. And now for the other part of the video where I get to be really excited about something. Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso. Now, this year is really exciting for us Fernando fans, because he will probably get his win number 33, which is really exciting. And I don't want to jinx it, but maybe even his 3rd championship. And that would make me so incredibly happy, and that would make happy so many people. Actually, there are so many people who are rooting for Fernando, you know. I mean, he's just amazing, he's great, he's incredible, he's everything. Anyways, Aston Martin is a very promising project, and a part of me is really scared that it's gonna be a Ferrari situation, you know, where there's so much hype and then nothing happens, and what happens isn't so good. But even this season, with that horrible, atrocious car he's been able to get some points, you know, and he's been able to perform. So that's absolutely great, and that's something that only Fernando would be able to do. So, and if he's been able to get points with that green tractor, that John Deere he's been driving this season, next year, if he has a competitive car, he will for sure he will win. And I'm not asking for dominance, right? I'm not asking for Red Bull dominance, but make it green. I just want a competitive car for him. I just want him to have a chance. Because if Fernando Alonso has a chance to win, you better believe he will. He's just great. He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT. And that's that. He is the GOAT, and he's gonna win, and I'm gonna be so happy, and everyone's gonna be so happy, and yes. And something that really reassures me is that Adrian Newey, at first, he limited himself to the aerodynamics part of developing the car, you know, and then the whole development of the car for 2026, for this new era. And it seemed great. Everything seemed great. And then at first, I was under the impression, me and many other people were under the impression that he didn't want to get too involved with the team in terms of other areas that weren't aerodynamics, you know, other areas of the team, other roles of the team. But then a year goes by and he decides he wants to be team principal, which is great. That means that he's so confident and he believes so much in his project and how it's turning out that he wants to be the face of the project. He wants to take full responsibility. And that is something that only a person, and he is a perfectionist, and that's a move that only a perfectionist who truly believes in his craft is capable of pulling. Fernando with a competitive car is gonna be so amazing to get to see him drive. And overtake with anything other than a tractor. I'm serious. I'm really happy. The possibilities now are endless. It's gonna be weird to see Max driving a car without the number 1 on it, and with number 3, not even number 33, number 3, Daniel's number. It's gonna be so weird to see a car with the number 3 on it, and it not being Daniel's car, especially when it's a Red Bull. Oh my god. Daniel in the Red Bull, the era of the what ifs. Oh my god, I'm getting to see Lando driving number 1 instead of number 4. A McLaren with the number 1. Oh, it's gonna be so weird. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. Yeah, happy 2026, guys. Anyways, that was it for today. Thanks for watching, to those who did, and I'll see you on the next one.